there's a part of me that feels a little bit like, I'm not saying every movie has to be like this at Disney, but I do think that's something that historically Disney really has excelled at, is telling universal stories, but in a really simple
Yes.
and using a metaphor
Mhm.
that only animation can do to tell that story. Like even some of their shorts from, I don't know if you're familiar. There's a short called Lambert the Sheepish Lion,
Oh yeah.
about a little lion cub that gets raised by sheep, and so
Yeah.
like he grows really big and ferocious, but he still is acting like a little lamb because he got raised by lambs. And then like finding he has to find his roar and sort of find this inner lion, and or even, and now we're talking about lions, Lion King, using animals as a metaphor for all these things that we go through as humans. So I feel like there's some I think a lot of Disney movies are missing metaphor. They're still really great movies,
Yes.
but they're
Music getting a little
getting
too complex, maybe too big for
maybe
itself.
complex, or maybe just a little, they're just sort of I don't mean, I hate to say it because there's nothing wrong with doing this, but
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, yeah.
there are a lot of humans, which is fine, but there are a lot of humans in very human stories, even though there might be science fiction elements to it or fantasy elements to it. They're very kind of almost kind of grounded and sort of literal in a way, because
Yeah.
you know Raya is one that keeps popping into my head. Great movie, but it's and there are some non-human characters in it, but for the most part, the cast is human characters.
Mhm.
That's fine. I, is there a way to also do some simpler films
Mhm.
that speak a little bit more on that metaphoric level, that use fantasy characters or animals or whatever um, to tell? It's like fables. It's like Aesop's fables.
Yeah.
Uh, or any of the old Grimm's fairy tales. All those things. They were all metaphors. They were all telling kids about the dangers of the world, but using animals as the characters, or Little Red Riding Hood, or Tortoise and the Hare, or whatever. And that's kind of the origins of Disney, I think, and the origins of Disney animation, and why the focus so much on animal stories is because of that. And that was very common a lot longer ago. I think now animation is focusing a little bit more on human stories told with humans.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah. No,
what
I
do you?
think it kind of makes me think. It's kind of like, well, I guess how I interpret it is, I guess with Raya, for example, I do think it's a very good movie, a lot of
Yeah.
parts of it. But one thing I feel like you're saying is like with Dumbo, right? I mean, I feel like with Raya, the message is very just like said super out loud. It's because it's humans, you read it so much easier. It's like,
Mhm.
this is the issue, this is the problem, this is how you have to feel. Like with Dumbo, it's a lot more based off like animal. Obviously, we're not animals, but you can personify them to a certain extent. I think that's what Dumbo is. You're supposed to kind of like you pick up context clues by yourself. I think that's what
Yeah,
it kind
yeah,
of is.
Yeah.
absolutely,
Suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
absolutely, totally, 100%. And okay, and a more recent example from Disney's, Zootopia is definitely like a modern fable. It's using
Yeah.
animals to tell a story about humanity.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see more of that. I'd love to see, interspersed with the Rayas and the Frozens and the Strange Worlds, some Dumbos and 101 Dalmatianses and Jungle Books and things like that. Even though those do have human characters, but the emphasis is more on the animals or the fantasy characters. I would love to see a more of a mix of that from Disney. If that makes sense.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier. It's just I think it kind of goes to like the show don't tell type of thing. And I
Yeah,
feel like a lot of not even just Disney, I feel like a lot of movies in general, just live action too. It's just showing everything, but not like letting it sink in for you to like kind of think about it, you know?
yeah, 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 exactly. And let what the characters are going through speak the theme, like you were saying, as opposed to just sort of saying it out loud. And I say that having made Meet the Robinsons, where we say keep moving forward
Yeah.
about 3,000 times in the movie. So who am I to to make that criticism? But you know what I mean.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. I guess what was I gonna say? I got a grip from it. You gonna say something?
Oh no.
Oh, okay. I remember what I was gonna say now. Yeah,
Mhm.
so I guess going to the idea and is I guess quickly just so I can get a good idea is like what was your just a quick opinion on like Disney remakes in general? I'm sure everyone has an
Mm.
opinion on those. Yeah.
Not a huge fan of them, and I mean, to be fair, I haven't seen pretty much all of them, so
Yeah, same. Yeah.
I shouldn't I won't speak specifically to the actual movies themselves, but just the concept of
Concept, yeah.
remaking them. I wish they weren't, or if they were going to do it, like for the Jungle Book, for example, rather than remake the animated Jungle Book, why don't you do a retelling of the original Jungle Book stories, the
Yes.
Rudyard Kipling stories?
Mhm.
Do that. That would be exciting. Fun, tell that in a totally fresh, new, and contemporary way. I'd rather see that, or like we're gonna do a live action 101 Dalmatians, but it's an adaptation of the original book that's
Mhm.
totally new and different. I'd rather see that than remaking an animated film in live action. There's just something about that that feels it just feel to me, this is just me speaking,
Yeah.
it just feels unnecessary because I'll just go watch the original. That's what I would rather watch. I don't know why I need I personally, just
Yeah.
me again. I know because I know that a lot of them are really popular and people really
Yeah.
love them. So that's great. For me, I look at them and I think I don't know why. I don't really need to see that because I my life does not have a vacuum in it which with which that will fill it.
Yeah.
you know. So yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess another thing we kind of talked about earlier was kind of like, freezing frames and type of stuff. At least with
Mhm.
these live action films. I mean, obviously some of them are very technically advanced, like Lion King. But like I think you lose a lot of the emotion from drawings.
Yeah.
Because if you're
Oh
just going
yeah.
hyper realistic, I mean,
Yeah.
and this is also just a general thing, I think, is just like I feel like you're so hyper realistic, like you're kind of losing so much of it. So
It's like the
Absolutely.
fish from um what's it, Little Mermaid, and he had the eyes on the side of his face. It's like, oh, I don't know what expression he's doing, but I guess it's
I mean
fine.
it's a fish. It's a good fish.
Yeah. Same with Sebastian the crab. When
Yeah.
I saw the trailers for Little Mermaid, I was like, it's just a realistic crab. There's no personality to that. There's no, I mean, the voice is the voice coming out of it has personality, but
Yeah.
it's not reflected in the character because there's nothing there. I don't understand those choices because why bother? Why bother? Why I would I just don't understand that. Why would you intentionally do something that has no personality in
Mm.
a movie, just in any story, in any
Yeah.
storytelling? Like, forget if it's a remake. I just don't understand that choice.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Perplexing.
definitely weird because, like, I mean, of course, I'm sure everyone who worked on it did a very good
And
job.
it does
It
look
looks
nice.
very nice,
Yes.
but I just remember when I went to see Little Mermaid with Aaron's little sister, even she, and she's like 11, 12 years old, even she thought it was kind of odd that the characters didn't have like real facial expressions.
Yeah.
Like the birds just kind of squawking like a regular bird, the fish just is a fish. Like she was
Yeah.
very confused. But then again, maybe other little kids are doing okay with the movie.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe exactly. Maybe for some it just kind of they just accept it for what it is and they enjoy it, and that's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, also, I
But
mean,
I don't
yeah, I
get
mean,
it.
we lose a lot of the jokes too, because half the jokes in these animated films were based off of the expression and the
Yeah.
Yeah.
characteristics. So, like,
Yeah.
some jokes just do they keep basically the script basically a carbon copy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
So like it's almost word for word. So
Except for the
yeah,
princess song now.
yeah, there's a few things that are different, and those different
Uh,
things I don't know if they work, but yeah, but you're telling the same jokes, but the jokes are based off of expression, so it's like, I mean, you know,
yeah. Yeah. Like that. The one that just popped in my head is in Little Mermaid in particular is that one Sebastian does that big
yeah,
where his jaw just goes clunk, you know. And maybe they didn't even try for that in the movie, but like yeah, that's a pure animation moment. That's you're completely breaking the anatomy of that
Yeah.
character,
Mhm.
and it's totally cartoony and super caricatured, but it works. Like you said, like the joke, I remember seeing it when it came out, and that joke killed. you know. So, and you can't do that with realistic crab. But
Yeah.
I guess with a realistic crab, if its jaw's coming off, I guess it's a crab cake.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, but kind of, I guess right now in this, I guess, era animation, obviously there's a lot of cool things happening, but also there's it's like a hodgepodge of a lot of different ideas, which is always good. But I guess from you of your over 30 years of experience in animation, like where do you think you necessarily want to see it headed, and where do you think maybe some issues are, and what could be the better thing for the future generation to do?
mm,
Just in your opinion, obviously opinions vary.
yeah. Well, I mean, I've felt this for quite a while. I taught at Cal Arts for a while, and
Yeah.
the last time I taught was, I think I left in 2017, so it's somewhat recent-ish. But I did remember talking to the students saying, your ability to be an independent artist and filmmaker is amazing to me, because when I rewind when I was at Cal Arts, um, there was no such thing as an I mean, yeah, there was independent animators, but they were like Ralph Bakshi,
About
or
actually, yeah.
they were still doing, they still had to get a big studio to kind of
You go
back
through a
them. They still
studio.
needed a big financing, stuff like that. But I would tell the students, you guys make your film in Cal Arts, and the second it's done, it's online, and hundreds, if not thousands, and if you're lucky, maybe millions of people are watching your film, your student film, and it's on Instagram and it's on YouTube and it's whatever, and you're known for you made that film, and everybody knows that, and there are a bajillion eyes on it right off the bat, and that's so cool, because and that's something that's so unique to right now. On top of that, you know the technology exists to make a film in your lap while you're watching TV.
Mhm.
um, and some of the quality of the Cal Arts, I mean just Cal Arts, but I'm just thinking Cal Arts because I was there and watching the
Yeah.
films at that time. Some of the level of quality was mind blowing at the professional level that anybody can get these days if they put the time into it and they have the know-how of all the software, and they're able to do it. Like some of them were student films, but I would swear to you that was from a studio.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
I mean, like I
uh,
applied to Cal Arts and like I just remember looking at their grad program and like all of the student films that they put on there,
yeah,
like oh my gosh. I thought some of those were made by professors. Like
yeah,
so good.
yeah. Well, and so on this note,
Yeah.
today with all the AI stuff, strikes,